What up, everybody? It's your boy Riot, aka Mr. Right here with that chaos. Mayhem is fighting areas. New timer, got my discard build. Bit of an old school build mixed with some current cards. So, two starters to help manage the counter blast. We definitely gotta have that. There's gonna be some cards in here. Y'all gonna be like, what? So, two of those, just like I said, to mitigate the counter blast options. The zeros are going to be the biggest of all the grades. Got 4 heal triggers because we got to heal and we got to use our G guards. A two draw trigger, a wood. Yes, 2 draw triggers because this deck needs just a little bit more hand advantage than most other builds that I would normally do. Because the other after image deck, I'll leave that in the description below, doesn't have a problem with getting cards to hand or to field because of the superior card factor or defending, but we do need just a tad bit extra in our hands because we don't run a solid after image build. This is built around discarding. Because I love calling triggers to the field, one of my teammates is always making the remark that Riot is always calling triggers to the field, and he makes them work. So don't knock his hustle. That's right. Don't knock my hustle. You know what I mean? This stand trigger not only buffs, gives a little sprinkle of 3K to a unit on the field. You draw a fresh card and put this card back into the deck as long as you have less cards than your opponent. That is going to be the law of this deck. As long as you have less cards than your opponent, that is going to be the law. 2 Tobihiko crit triggers because we got to remain offensive and crits win games. RIIIOOOT for goes in the soul +5, blah, blah, blah. 2 great ones are the new, well, not new, but BTO 1 Hagakure and 1 grade 2. So 2 1s and a 2 are the replacement for Hagakure. You can put whatever you want to, however you want to build it, but Hagakure's skills, as long as you follow the law, less cards than your opponent. When you guard with this card, counter blast 1, your opponent has to discard a card. So you can really hurt your opponent during those very crucial times because our zeros, our 1s, our 2s, and our grade 4s are something that really affects our opponent's hand. So at all times you will be affecting your opponent's hand, whether you're attacking or defending. Like I said, 4 Dreadmaster to start off our grade 1s. Less cost to your opponent. Follow the law. I'll just go ahead and say that. Boosting an attack on anything. You can choose to attack rear guard, vanguard, depending on what psychological game you choose to play. If it hits counter blast 1, your opponent has to discard a card, which is also the reason I didn't run a Kuroko and 1 combo Jigusa. Even though Kuroko's a solid starter, there's too many decks out there that could get rid of her, and that way now you're just stuck with no real means of counter charging, because this deck can be counter blast heavy if you don't watch what you're doing. Because we got to get Shiranui amongst all cards for stride fodder, and it does help with striding. We got 4 Aramatabi, the after image PG. Now this is a pseudo Kuroko, which is why I'm running this card. It can combo well with any card. It's a Kuroko Dreadmaster hybrid. When they boost an attack on anything, the attack doesn't have to hit. Soul Blast 1, whatever's in the bind zone, you can kill. Your opponent has to choose something in their bind zone, kill it off. This is primarily the only thing that uses soul in the whole deck, so there's no reason you shouldn't, take use of that. Not to mention, you get the card back should any cards go back from the bind zone to your opponent's hand. That's right, only 12 2s. Oh no. Like I said, the Hagakure took up 2 of those spots. 4 Tomahawk, just so we can start getting after image strikes early. Not to mention a little bit later game, should you get rid of those interceptors, so your opponent's forced to guard their hand. Not to mention, put a Dreadmaster behind him and attack a rear guard that would otherwise have served its purpose. Your opponent has to discard a card. That is the whole law right there. We got 4 Miyabi, the Amber Cloner. When you follow the law, counterblast 1, you choose from your opponent's hand, bind it face down. So as long as you follow the law. So and then we got 2 Agitamaru. This can of course be anything, but I'm choosing Agitamaru because of the simple fact that I can attack the Vanguard if I'm facing Gear Chronicle and kill off something in their bind zone. So that's going to force a guard there. Not to mention, if you wanted to up this, which is totally fine, you would just have to find a way to do so. My recommendations would be at least down one Tomahawk or 1 Miyabi, and that way you can have your your third. Now yesterday, I was running 2 Yozakura Congo and 1 Voidmaster. Now that could still be a thing. Voidmaster is Dreadmaster in grade 3 form. Attack a rear guard because it kind of looks like, come at me, bro. Come at me. I wish you would. Come at me. Attacks a rear guard. The attack hits. They discard a card. On Vanguard, should you have to ride this card, which is why I chose not to run it anymore. But it is still a fantastic card simply because it is like I said, Dreadmaster. Running 3 Yozakura Congo for the chance of, if I am playing a grade 1 rush deck for whatever reason, the way I will attack them is by attacking their hand. Yes, most of their hand is meant for guard. Most of their cards are probably going to come back anyway. But if they can't guard my attacks, then, So Counterblast 1, discard 2 cards. You bind 2 cards from your opponent's hand face down if they have 4 more cards. If you didn't want to use your Yozakura Congo, you can use Kabuki Congo. He binds their field face up, which is a lot easier to do, easier in your hand. All about personal preference. I might even switch it out to that. we will see. But anyway, and then of course we have for Shiranui the boss of the whole deck. Stride over him, Counterblast 1. Your opponent has to discard a card, and you choose something on their field and bind it face up. Be careful of what you bind, especially who you're binding. Facing Gear Chronicle, then be careful with that. I'm not sure if it's bound by their effects or bound period. So yeah. GB2, when you swing at Vanguard, following the law, he gets a crit and +5. So that's not too bad. For the G-Zone, once a breeze, just because we got to get to, our generation cards. If there was a way to run Twitter run in here, definitely do it. You definitely do it. For the Nubatama G guards, if your opponent has 6 or less cards, it gets a +5. Very easy to get. 1 Zarami Rakan. Running 1 of this simply because it was recommended to me by either a fellow YouTuber or a subscriber, that I run at least 1, and this is just in case if you can't get anything into your opponent's bind zone. So if the attack hits, you choose a card from the hand, bind it face down. If you have 3 or more after image cards on field, your opponent choose something in their bind zone and retire it. So I found that to be very good if my opponent chose not to play at field, or I was just killing off their field left and right, and you know, running 2 Gaunrakan. Basically, he's the field killer. So your opponent has a full field. They keep 2 cards on the field, bind the rest face up, and if 3 or more cards were bound, keep that in mind. If 3 or more cards were bound, not by this card's effect, but if 3 or more cards were bound, your opponent has to kill off 2 of the 3 that are in the bind zone. Not to mention, you have yet to use Shiranui skill, because you are placing this and then his skill goes off, then Shiranui skill procs off. So they have 1 card on the field, 2 cards in bind zone. Yeah, the field killer. And of course, to follow the law, we got Geirasudakan. 3 of, on hit, the law must be fulfilled. Discard a card. Discard a card. So the deck, if you haven't figured out by now, if you guard, you discard. If you don't guard, you're going to take damage, lose a unit, and or discard a card. So regardless of what's happening, it's going in my favor. So normally you wouldn't block that attack over there, but now I'm forcing you to discard. Then we got 1 Sukumura Khan. Would definitely like this at 2, and we'll take Geirasuda Khan down to 2. 2. When it's placed, Con Blast 2. Flip up something in G zone. Your opponent has to keep 4 cards in hand, bind the rest face down. Generally, if they have 7 cards or more, is when I'll do it. There's no need to waste this card's potential off of 2 cards. No need to do that. When they have that 4th of their choosing, then you go into Shiranui skill. If you have the counterblast available, then they have to discard the card, and they're down to 3 cards and down 1 extra card on the field. Possible interceptor that could help them live. Maxed out at 4, a Taco Lord. When you swing, it's counterblast 1 persona flip. Your opponent binds a card from the hand face down. If they have 3 or less cards in hand, this card gets crit. So you got to max them out at 4, simply because it helps. It really does. No reason not to have them at 4 until we get some better strides. Anyway, comment, like, subscribe. Any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section. Any suggestions you guys would make, leave them in the comment section as well. Hopefully this gave y'all just that little bit of extra in your day. So go ahead and tell your mom, auntie, grandma, sister, lover, brother, their lovers and brother, your cousin, and any other people who play Vanguard. Share the wealth, share the love, holler at your boy.